Hi, and welcome to the first tutorial in the series Monty Hall and the Python. This is a series where we're going to explore something called the Monty Hall problem. We're going to figure out a way to solve it using Python and using a statistical approach that will lend itself to creating a simulation. We can simulate something to happen many times, and through the ensemble of all the different simulations, we can actually determine the probability of an outcome. And so that's the whole basis of the Monty Hall problem. If you've never heard of the Monty Hall problem, I'm going to briefly describe to you what it is. So Monty Hall was a game show host, and he was famous for a game show called Let's Make a Deal. And in this game show, he would present to someone in the audience or someone who was playing the game 3 doors. And so the 3 doors represented 3 choices. And so behind these doors, there were 2 things that you didn't care about, and behind one of the doors was something you really liked, but you didn't know which door it was behind. It could have been behind any of the 3 doors. So you, as the participant in the game show, would make a choice. You might choose door number 1, as shown here. Then, this is where the interesting thing happens. Then Monty Hall would open one of the doors you didn't pick and say, oh, ta-da! All right, there's a door that didn't have what you wanted. And so now you're left with a final choice. You can choose A, to keep the door you had, or B, to choose the door you didn't choose at the beginning. And so this is a question that people have thought, well, what is the chance that you pick the right door first? Or when you get this option to choose between the 2 doors, does it make any difference which door you pick? And I'm going to spoil it for you and give you the answer, and hopefully by the end of this series I'll have convinced you that that answer is right. But the correct answer is that on a probability basis, you're better off changing your answer when you're presented with this specific scenario. It turns out when you're presented with any scenario where you have multiple doors and some of the doors are revealed to you as a wrong answer and you're allowed to make a new choice, that your new choice has a higher probability of being correct. Although in this particular case, the effect is a bit exaggerated in an interesting way. So naively, you would look at this final choice here and say your odds were 50-50. Yeah, I could keep the door I had. I could pick the new door. It's 50-50. It's behind one or the other, right? And it turns out that that's not quite right, because if you move back to this point, when you had this choice, what was your chance of being correct? Your chance of being correct when you made this choice was only 33%. And so, we argue, yes, maybe your odds have changed now that one of the doors have been opened and you have a chance to change your pick, but why wouldn't it still just be 33%? Or why wouldn't it be 50-50? And like I said, by the end of this series, hopefully you'll agree with me that having a Python simulation sorted out for us shows us the answer. So if we're going to do this, let's get started. First, we're going to want to take, you're going to want to open up a terminal. You can open up your integrated developer environment if that's what you prefer. I'm just going to do this one with a Windows terminal and a text editor. I'm going to use Notepad++. And I'm going to begin the way I begin almost every code I've ever written, by saying import, sys and os. Even if I don't end up using them, I find that I eventually have some need that I want those 2 imports available to me. Okay, so we're going to try to keep this very simple. We're going to build this code up from scratch. We're going to make improvements to the code over time, and we're going to show how you can solve a problem like this using Python simulation. Okay, so we're just going to add things as we need them, and we're going to try to define the problem very clearly so that we're all on the same page. We all agree that we're defining the problem correctly. We come to the right answer. So the first thing we have to define are our choices. So our choices, we could call them anything, but I'm going to call them A, B, and C. And so I've just made a list. It's got 3 options, A, B, and C. Okay? Now we want to make the choice that we're going to define now one of these to be the correct choice, okay? And so the correct choice, we could say, we could just randomly pick one, right? Because if we're the contestant, we're not supposed to know the answer. And so to do this, we'll go back up here and we'll say, actually we'll say from random import sample. All right, so sample is an extension of the random module, and what sample will do is it will take a list and you'll give it the input. You'll say sample the list and you'll give it a number, and you'll say that's how many times you want to sample from the list. So in this case, the correct choice will just be a sample from our choices, and we only want one. This is the correct choice. And so this this extension here returns another list. So in this case, since we're only choosing one thing from the list and we just want the answer to be the correct choice, we can just put a little bracket with a 0 that says we're picking the first item of the list, but we know the list only has one entry, so the correct choice will now be the correct choice. But we don't know what it is. We're using a random library from Python that chooses that for us. So now it might be good to know what the wrong choices are, since if you're Monty Hall, you know what the wrong choices are. So we'll define those too. Wrong choices. And the wrong choices will be a choice for C in choices if C is not equal to the correct choice. Okay, and so that's off the screen there. I'm going to see, edit, view, what are we going to do here? Word wrap, okay. All right, so hopefully this font's not too small for you to read, but we're going to now wrap the words, wrap the lines. Hopefully that works anyway. Okay, so we have now, we've set our choices, we've picked the correct choice, we know what the wrong choices are, and what I've done in line here is I've said that the wrong choices are the choice that's not the correct choice, okay? So now we as the contestant have to pick our choice. And so we're going to use an input selection, so this is going to be an interactive program. So we'll say my choice is equal to input, and we'll use an F string here, and we'll say choose one of the following. And then in brackets we'll say choices. All right. And then we'll just, for fun, we'll say print my choice. Okay. And we better put that in parentheses because we're using Python 3. If you're not using Python 3, wake up, man. What are you doing? Use Python 3. All right, we're going to save this as, we'll call this the Monty Hall tutorial 0. All right, Monty Hall tutorial 0. All right, that's a great name. Okay, so we're going to just now take this bit of code we ran and we're going to run it over here. So you got to just make sure that this is in my directory called Python work, which is the directory where I've saved this file. So now I can say Python Monty Hall tutorial 0.py. If I run it, it says choose one of the following, A, B, C. And so I can choose A, and it prints out that I chose A. So that's great. All right. So one thing we can do just to be a little bit nicer here is we can put a little space after choices. And we could put a period here. And now maybe it would be good to set something up so that if we don't pick a choice that's not in the list, that our code will throw some exception and say, hey, wait a minute, you didn't pick something in the list, moron. So to do that, we will say if my choice not in choices sys.exit, you messed up, moron. Okay. So now that we've done that, we can just, again, we can run this one more time, press the up arrow in the Windows terminal and hit enter. Choose one of the following. Now we have a period, there's a space, that looks really nice. Now if we just choose a lowercase a, you messed up, moron, because it's not in there, and it just threw an error. It just threw that as a system exit. See, I told you we'd be using the sys and the OS. So, all right. If we run it again and I choose capital B, it just prints out B because our choice is in the list of choices. So we're all set there. Okay. All right. So now we've got the choices. They got my choice. Now we need Monty Hall to reveal something to us. And so, but Monty Hall can only reveal a wrong choice, right? He knows what the right choice is. He knows what the two wrong choices are. So to reveal something, he's got to choose from one of the wrong choices, right? But if we've chosen a wrong choice, he can't reveal that our choice is wrong. I hope this is making sense. But if you choose A and A is wrong, Monty Hall can't open door number A because you've chosen number A. He's going to show you the other door that's wrong, okay? And maybe you begin to see why changing your mind is a good idea, but that's okay. We're going to just keep plowing ahead. So we'll say reveal equals, let's see, we've already picked what the wrong choices are. We know what the wrong choices are, and the wrong choices don't contain the correct choice. So reveal should equal, we can do a similar line. We can say C for C in wrong choices if C is not equal to my choice. Okay, so that what this would create is a list. And so what we can then do is just sample from this list, right? So we'll actually just change this from reveal to reveals, just because it could contain two things. If we chose the right thing, this would have two items in it. And then we'll say reveal singular is equal to sample reveals, and we'll just take the first one. Oh wait, sorry, we gotta sample it one time and then give us that item from the list. And now we'll say print, we'll make an F string here. F reveal. Okay. Monty Hall reveals, and he reveals that. You throw an exclamation point in the space. All right, let's see if this works. We'll go back to our terminal. We'll hit the up arrow, Python, mhtutorial_0, all that. And we got an error. Oh, right, because we didn't put in the end of our quotation mark there. So now that we've got that in there, everything should, well, we'll see what other errors we have. All right, choose one of the following. We're going to choose C. I chose C. Monty Hall reveals B. Okay, so we're on the right track. So I'm going to stop this here, and we will finish up this simple version of the tutorial in the next tutorial. So in the next tutorial, we're going to figure out how to switch our answer. We've got an answer. Monty Hall has revealed an answer. So now with all that information, we know which door we can switch our answer to. And so we can then make a choice, another input, where we can decide to switch our answer or not to switch our answer. That's what we'll do next time. So thank you for watching, and I hope you tune in for the next tutorial.